Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Digital Nomad World weekly series. I'm Becky, and I'll be your host. And today I have my guests, Kate Schiffman and Amichai Ben David, and we're going to be talking about investing in an eco-luxury resort called Alma in Ericeira, Portugal. Kate and Amichai, welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing?
Thank you. Great to be here. Thank you, Becky.
It is so great to be here and hear more about this project, which I'm going to go first to Kate with, because Kate, I want you to start out and tell us about your project. This is your baby. What is Alma?
Yeah, so thank you so much for actually starting off as describing it as an eco luxury resort. It is that, and it's more importantly, it's a space designed specifically for digital nomads and remote workers. It is a space that has been optimized for people living transient lifestyles. So as someone who kind of grew up on the plane, has been living a transient life since I was 8 years old. I know what it's like to feel at home or not to feel at home. And so it's been my purpose to create a space for people who spend most of their lives traveling, where they can fully arrive, relax, recharge, meet other like-minded people, and get their work done.
Amazing. Yes. And I'm glad that you're mentioning this digital nomad piece when you said it's for transient people moving from country to country. I was like, this is music to all the digital nomads' ears, but we love to feel at home. I'm sure you feel the same, Amichai.
Yeah. I feel, traveling all around, it's you can tell when there's a place that is meant for digital nomads or meant for backpackers or without even realizing what it's meant for. When you get there, you get a sense of the place. So the locations that are meant for digital nomads, you feel right at home for the community, the facilities. So I definitely relate.
So let's talk about Ericeira, where Alma is. Kate, can you start by telling us about your history with Ericeira?
Yeah, so I'm living in Portugal since 2016, and I first arrived in the Algarve, which is the south of the country, a very popular tourist destination, and I very quickly realized it wasn't my place. It's, very, very crowded, super touristy, and completely deserted off season. And so I drove around the country, and I magically came across this beautiful, beautiful, charming seaside village that's only 40 minutes away from Lisbon, called Ericeira. And it has quite interesting history. It used to be a fishing village. It actually was the place from where the Portuguese royal family escaped to Brazil when the dictatorship, when Salazar came to power in 1910. So it has an interesting kind of like local history, but more recently, it's become kind of like a hotspot for digital nomads and particularly surfers, because in the early 2000s, it was designated as a World Surfing Reserve, the only one in Europe and one of seven in the world. So what this means is that there are a lot of surf competitions being held here, but also it's become an international hotspot for surfers to come and spend several months here, as they kind of like move around the world, doing their surf thing. And just like a lot of places that are based around the passion, which can be places around art and creativity, like Williamsburg and Brooklyn, like Bansko, which is originally based around winter sports, and Ericeira has started to outgrow its original kind of passion point. And so it's become a lifestyle destination for remote workers. There are a lot of tech people because Lisbon has been and is, kind of growing as an innovation, a startup hub, and there's quite a lot of spillover from there to Ericeira. So there's a lot of tech people, there are remote workers, there are digital nomads. There's obviously a very strong surfer community and a mindfulness kind of like a yoga spirituality community. So it's this really interesting hub that keeps growing and evolving.
Amazing. That sounds so wonderful. Amichai, I'm curious about your connection with Ericeira as well.
Well, our my love story with Ericeira. actually started by accident. We were planning on spending a few months in the Canary Islands. And then we got there, and after 3, 4 days, we realized it's not really the scene we're looking for. It was during the festival in February, and it wasn't our scene, and we were looking for a place to go from there. And actually, someone from our community recommended checking out Ericeira. So, kind of the next maybe 2 days afterwards, 2 days later, we were on a plane. We were planning on starting just for a week in Ericeira, and then kind of checking out the other parts of Portugal from there. But then ended up staying for a few months. It's the cutest place, quaint. It feels authentic because it has the history and the cobblestone and the side streets, but also modern enough that it's very comfortable. So we loved it, and we've been going back ever since. So every time we go to Portugal, we stop in Ericeira for a few weeks. We recommended it to all our friends, family. They've been over, and it's just, yeah, one of my favorite places in the world.
Oh, what an amazing thing to hear. And I know you feel the same, Kate. So you had this project that you started, which we've already touched on a little bit. But one reason we're bringing this video to everybody is that there is now a chance to invest for everyone in Alma. If you're hearing this or you've been to Ericeira and you are intrigued, or you'd like to find a way to have a kind of home there, now you have this chance. So Kate, could you tell us about what kind of price point you're thinking of for people to invest, and what people will get if they think about investing?
Yeah, sure. So far, our investors, have come in at a range of tickets. The lowest investment has been 15,000, which actually was now increased to 20, because the person said, "Oh, I'll put a little bit more money." So I would say like 15, 20K is the lowest ticket. And with that, you also, you obviously you get shares in the company, and you also get perks. You have the co-working membership. You have a certain amount of days that you can come and stay for free per year, because we want you to be part of the community. We are coming to like-minded people, like the digital nomad world and its members, because we want to build a community in Ioma of people who really understand this lifestyle, who are really passionate about this lifestyle, which is why we are really encouraging our investors to come and stay with us. So obviously stays are a perk and a benefit. And obviously, in addition to that, you get dividends, and you get at the end of the life of the project, when we sell this particular property, you get, a lump sum of money based on your amount of investment. So you get dividends, and then you get some proceeds from the exit value.
Right. Okay. And so just for full disclosure for everyone, Amichai is already an investor in the project. And I'm curious, Amichai, why did you decide to invest in Alma? What was it about Kate that made you think, yeah, this is the person I want to invest in?
Well, again, in full disclosure, I'm investing as part of Digital Nomad World.
Yes.
And one of the main reason is, for a while we've been trying to find ways to bring our community from online to offline. So we've been doing different events and locations, and we've been looking for a place that we can call kind of the home for the community. So it'd be a base that people from the community can meet and spend more time there. And we've been looking around, doing research, and at some point we were thinking of starting our own co-work or co-living. And then I don't even know how we came across Ioma, Kate's project, and saw the first video and fell in love. It was pretty much everything that we were like thinking of doing ourselves. And here's someone who's already put down the groundwork, did the research in the place that couldn't be better for us. And everything just kind of aligned. So yeah, we love the project. We think it's perfect for us, and believe in Kate and in the project, and really think it's gonna grow, not just in Ericeira, but in the future grow into a much larger chain of co-living, co-working. So we're very excited about it.
Now, that's certainly the dream, is to start someplace and then be able to go to, let's say, 3 to 5 places around the world, even, and always with that like eco sustainability piece in mind. And so, Kate, I think it's important for us to say, like, how many bedrooms are you planning to build? What kind of facilities are going to be in Alma? And what stage are we at right now?
Yeah, sure. So the project is 10 bedrooms. All bedrooms are en suite. There's a separate co-working space. So it's not like a lot of the other places where people renovate a villa and then you end up like working on the couch or in the living room. I don't want that because the idea is to actually purpose build something that is a functional space for people who live and work on the road. And so there is the co-working space is actually a separate building. It provides a range of sitting and standing positions for people to be able to work actively throughout the day. There are standing desks, there are creator studios, there are phone booths, there are different kinds of seating arrangements, and obviously a conference room. There are opportunities for people to work outdoors. So there's a beautiful porch that provides an interesting shadow pattern that allows you to stay outside without the sun kind of like going into your laptop with obviously Wi-Fi plugs and everything. We want to bring nature in as much as possible. So using the principles of biophilic design, sensorial design, we're designing every space of the house to optimize for its intended use. So for example, like every bedroom is not only en suite, but every bathroom has a skylight so that you can open it and you can shower while looking at the sky and feeling the air and listening to the birds and smelling the summer air. So all of the bedrooms also have their own workstations. Some of them have private outdoor spaces, others don't. There's 3 different typologies. So there's 4 very large bedrooms that are double occupancy. So you can come with a partner or a friend and share if that's easier. And those are, the very large ones. So you always feel like this is a place where you can relax and you can stay for a while. You can stay for a few weeks. You can stay for a few months without feeling constricted like you're in a tiny, place. There is a fitness center. There's a double kitchen for the residents and a dining room. And there's a kind of like a smaller, I would say, library that's a little bit more private for maybe small groups or, some quiet time. And there's a very, very large communal living room, which can also be an event space. And then in the middle of the co-living building, there is a meditation greenhouse. So it's only accessible from one point of entrance. So it's not like a thoroughfare. And you can close the door and it goes through both floors. And it's just a very simple space where you can kind of recharge, regenerate, and have a little bit of a time to yourself. And I think actually at this point, it makes sense to talk about what Ioma actually means. So the word Ioma comes from the Japanese concept called ma. And that concept is translated as the space in between. So it's the space that we need uh, as a conscious pause to recharge, regenerate, and grow. So everything in the project, in its design, in its architecture, in the way we think about community, in the way we think about programming, embodies this concept of Ma. So the idea is for you to come and experience that moment of a conscious pause. The meditation greenhouse is there for that. The shadow patterns that we create with the patio and the kind of the pillars that go around the building are there for that, for you to be able to experience the light and shadow.
I just want to
Then move.
piggyback. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to piggyback on just how beautiful it is what you said, and again how it goes back to the beginning of what you said, that it's built with digital nomads in mind, because when I've traveled, I found so many places that are great. They're great co-working, great co-living, but they're essentially built for backpackers, and they've been transitioned for digital nomads, but they're either on a much larger scale. They have 50 rooms, 100 rooms, or there's something about it that is more maybe party-like mind, and I think this is the fact that it's a little more intimate, and it really creates a chance for people to come and like you said, take a break, relax, do yoga and meditation, but also connect with other people, because usually the larger the location is, the more rooms, it's easier to get lost and go unnoticed. And so many times the main thing digital nomads really want is to feel connected, a part of a community. So when there's a smaller group of people and you can recognize faces, you get familiar with the people after a few days, then you feel much more comfortable with them and you feel connected, as opposed to a place that has 50 rooms and you just go unnoticed for a few days and go to the next place. So again, it's amazing to come up with a place for digital nomads in mind and through that build it from the ground up.
Yeah, thank you. And actually, the size is was a very conscious choice because obviously, if I want to make more money, I build more rooms, right? But that wasn't the point. I'm thinking a lot about depth, the depth of connection, the depth, how deeply you can go into your work because you're working when you're staying there. So creating an environment that is conducive to doing deep work, but also connecting people on a deeper level, having longer conversations, having fewer conversations with fewer people, while also, the house is open to the community, to Ericeira. It's very close to Lisbon. It is porous in a sense that it invites people in, but there is a core kind of like community of residents that become like this family. And we really hope that, collaborations, relationships, partnerships, ideas spark, that come out of that.
Yeah, it sounds so wonderful. And like you said, it is not far from Lisbon. And I think it's also accessible by public transport, basically, from Lisbon. Like you don't need a car really to reach your space. Is that right?
This was actually the most important aspect for me for choosing the plot. Um, so as I said, the place is, I came up with this idea of 360-degree eco-positive approach. And the idea is that when looking at the entire consumer journey, I'm trying to understand where I could swap a default behavior for more sustainable behavior, and transportation is a major part of that. So it is walking distance from the bus station. It takes about 45 minutes to get to Ericeira by bus. And then we're also partnering with a local company that builds these really, really cool e-bikes. So there will be e-bikes available on site. And so you don't need to have a car to come here, and you don't need to have a car to go around and to go to all of the beaches and to experience Ericeira.
That's wonderful. And what stage are you at right now with the project? Has construction started? What is the plan potentially for it to be completed if investment is all has all come in?
Yeah, so I have obviously all of the plans approved. I I own the land already for a long time. We've raised quite a lot of investment. We still need to raise about 300,000, something like that. The rest is coming from, so a part of it is coming from investors, and then the part is coming from a bank loan. And then the moment we raise the rest of the equity, we can trigger the loan and start construction within like a couple of months. The construction time is actually very short. It's under 12 months, which is unusual for construction. And this is actually a byproduct of building with a very specific eco-conscious building material. So we're building with wood. We're not building with concrete, and it's similarly to a prefab. The entire building is actually the drawings are sent to a factory, laser cut. The wood is laser cut at the factory, delivered on a flatbed to the plot, and then the entire structure, 600 square meters, is going to be erected in 3 months. And then, of course, after that, the contractors go in and they do their installation and electricals and plumbing and all of that. But that initial erection of the building, which with a concrete building takes 18 months because concrete has to set. This takes 3 months because we're building from wood, and it cuts down a huge amount of CO2 and water usage. So it's kind of a win-win, this material.
That's incredible. Yeah, it sounds like this is a great opportunity if you, like you said, you've got, some money and you're wanting to put it in a place that is sustainable, a place that is one of now, I guess, one of the most sought after locations in the world based on what you guys are saying. I've also been to Ericeira as well, and I can say and attest to the fact that it is this really beautiful, the vibes and just the light. I know, Kate, you've talked to me before about the light that you have there, and it inspires you, I think, to get more work done as well.
Yeah, it's really beautiful from from early morning to the evening, and the plot is also it's a little bit back from the coast, which is great because Ericeira tends to be a little bit windy, so it's protected, and so you have light from early morning until very very late until the sunset. But it's a kind of like this really cozy warm spot that is facing south, and so it's always cozy, it's always warm there.
Nice. Yeah, I would imagine that, if you get there, you might want to stay, like you said, for several months. What is like the booking? If you become an investor, are you going to have like a booking system where you can just select the time that you want to go? Is there like a minimum number of days you're going to get that you stay, or has that been worked out per investor yet?
So yeah, so there are different thresholds depending on the level of the investment, and yeah, I'm happy to talk to people about that when it comes to that. When people come with a specific amount they're thinking of investing, but yes, there is a booking system. You can book rooms, you can book co-working spaces, you can book events. It's actually a fantastic system. It took me a very long time to find and customize, but yeah, and in addition to stays, also investors get community memberships and co-working memberships. So if someone is, for example, living in Lisbon or living in Ericeira or living in the area, they can have a co-working membership, or they can have a community membership, which is a lower price point, but it allows someone to come once a week, for example. And it also allows, this is actually the only way that you can book for less than a week because you're already a member of the community. So with the community membership, you do get the opportunity to book just for a few days, because obviously this being a co-living space, we're not in the in the short-term rentals business. We're not just renting rooms. That's not what we're doing, but we do give our community members that opportunity, and so that obviously extends to investors as well. And as I said, there's a certain number of free days depending on the level of investment.
Yeah, I'd imagine it's the perfect place for workations or programs for people to come and do some, 1 month of work or something together. I'm sure Amichai, the Digital Nomad World, has been thinking about this as well as a future spot.
Yeah, and like I said before, we were thinking about this, and then when we came across Kate's project, it was, a no-brainer. We don't have to invent the wheel and come up with a new project, because this is everything we were thinking of doing and even more. So really, it's the location, and I would recommend everyone to get in touch with Kate, or watch the video, go on YouTube, search for Ioma Ericeira, because it's yeah, for us it was a no-brainer.
Yeah, we're going to put some links in the descriptions as well, so you guys can see what the plans for Alma looks like and all of these things. So, Kate, is there anything else that you'd like to add about this incredible opportunity before we go? Something we haven't touched on. I know I haven't touched on the restaurants and the food in the area, but it's an
Which are
important
Yeah,
amazing.
Ericeira is magical. Ericeira and Lisbon are obviously super popular destinations. There's there's a magic, right? There's obviously this kind of feeling of still untouched nature. So the landscape is absolutely gorgeous. You have these gorgeous poetic cliffs, all the way up and down, up north and south of Ericeira, beautiful beaches. But you also have Lisbon, and you have the innovation ecosystem. You have incubators, you have scale ups, you have quite a lot of expats that, there's a strong expat community that is very active in business and entrepreneurship, in creativity. So it is a very vibrant scene that you can be part of if you come and spend some time here, whether it's in Ericeira, in Lisbon, going back and forth is super easy. So it's a way to be connected to a very interesting kind of like um, cultural and business hub but without having to live in the city. Because, for example, I come from New York. I sincerely don't need to live in another city. And I think a lot of people are similar. You know, we walked away from our corporate lives. A lot of us did, to have a different kind of life, to live close to nature. And so staying in a place like Ioma, and being at Ioma, spending time allows you to have that lifestyle that is close to nature, that allows you, time and mind space to connect with people on a deeper level while still being connected to a larger dynamic ecosystem of Lisbon.
Yes, the Lisbon piece is so important to mention because I'm sure it would be so easy to bring a speaker down, a group of people down for an event, and suddenly you're connected to some of the greatest minds in Europe that have come to Portugal specifically to live because of the ecosystem and business there.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, if people want to get in touch with you, Kate, about this project, what's the best way to reach you?
Yeah, so it's Kate at ioma.co. And I guess, yeah, we'll leave some links, as the notes for this interview. But yeah, it's ioma.coliving on Instagram, or Kate at ioma.co on email.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Amichai, for joining as a fellow investor in the project. And
It was a pleasure. And again, I can't recommend it enough. We came in from an emotional part in the beginning, just seeing Ericeira, loving it, wanting to get more involved. But also just from a cold investment perspective, Ericeira is a really up and coming location. So even from a cold investment perspective, it's a good deal.
yeah, you're going to have access to just such an amazing place, and you'll feel much more at home having a place like Elma than just staying in a typical hotel in Ericeira or a hostel. I've given up my hostel days. I don't know about you guys,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, no,
your
not
face
since
says
my
it all,
20s.
Kate. All right. Well, I hope you guys both have a wonderful day, and thank you for joining me and talking about Alma.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Amichai.
Thank you, Kate.
Thank
It's always good to
you.
see you, Becky.
You too. Speak
Bye.